Previously on WC's Ups and Downs.
What emergencies?
This no-talent ass hack. Jesus Christ.
No talent.
And now, the thrilling conclusion to What's in the Box. And Dave the Animal Batista breaks his silence exclusively to Adam Cleary. All this and more on today's Ups and Downs.
Hello there, everybody. Adam Cleary here for WhatCulture Wrestling. Yes, still me for another episode. Miller's not back until next week, but he has, amongst other things, given me this box to use in case of emergencies. And after yesterday, Tama Tonga splayed my heart into a thousand tiny pieces. I've decided that, well, this is definitely an emergency, and to get my confidence back to present the episode, I'm going to have to unleash its contents. So, here we go. It's a Repo Man costume, because of course it is. What else would Miller buy me? Anyway, mate, yes, thank you so much for this from the bottom of my heart. The best, I'm going to guess, £2.50 you've ever spent in your entire life. Anyway, yes, now that my confidence is renewed, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to up those downs. Up the SmackDowns. Up those SmackDowns. What does he say? Let's have a look. We opened the episode with an in-ring contract signing. Very, very normal thing to do. That happens in every other sport, I'm sure, and never ever goes wrong in professional wrestling. God, they're just really leaning into the Kofi love at the minute, aren't they? It's such a nice thing to see. They remind us of everything he's done in the company, refreshed our minds about his meteoric rise into the main event scene, and let him and the New Day pretty much hijack the entire segment up to a point. So I'm going to give that an immediate up, purely for the recognition that he so richly deserves. There surely isn't a single person left on the entire planet right now that thinks sticking Kofi in the main event scene, even if it's just temporarily until WrestleMania, is a brilliant idea. Is there? Oh God, yeah, Vince. Oh, ow. Putting aside for 1 second the shattered remains of my idiot heart, it is really nice to have Kevin Owens back. He's another one of these incredibly talented mid-carders that, were it not for sketchy booking, could have been a consistent member of the main event for the last few years. So, yes, I'm confident they'll do something with him, please. But at this stage of the show, it wasn't particularly clear what exactly they were doing with him. I mean, he's Vince's anointed one, so boo! But he's also being incredibly gracious about the whole thing, and not at all a dick, so can't really boo that. Yeah, you have my attention. Up, good writing. And then, out of precisely nowhere, the Hardy Boys are a thing again, which means that Matt Hardy hasn't retired, even though I'm 90% sure he had to, because his spine fused with his arse, which is gross. Also, just as an aside, are Gargano and Ciampa cursing all of these tag teams now? Because they beat the Revival last week and then they got a jobber entrance, then they beat the Bar on SmackDown and now they've got a jobber entrance as well. What's going on there? Anyway, though, really great to see Matt Hardy back in what I have to admit is fantastic shape for a man of his age. The match itself was good, if a little bit short, but it's just nice to get a return like this, so have an up, even if it is a second defeat in 2 weeks for the Bar. And also, what do we have here? Why, I think it might be yet another match that plays into my incredible theory about the Bar. Phil, scene change, please. So yes, the theory very simply states that the Bar are the best tag team currently in WWE, but only when they're able to prepare to face their opponents. I shall explain. They are incredibly dominant, they win pretty much all the time, they have multiple title reigns, but every now and then, they just get caught out by surprise opponents, be that an unusual pairing or a returning team. Take WrestleMania 33, for example. They were on a tear in the division, and then lo and behold, here come the returning Hardy Boys who catch them out and win. Fast forward to the next WrestleMania, they are on another tear throughout the division, and then lo and behold, Braun Strowman pulls a 5-year-old out the crowd. They have no idea how to prepare for that, and they lose. You had the Deleters of Worlds, a team nobody could have predicted joining up. They beat the Bar. You had the Shield returning out of nowhere. They beat the Bar. You had Jason Jordan teaming with Seth Rollins. Nobody saw that coming. They beat the Bar. Even more recent than that, the unlikely pairing of The Miz and Shane McMahon finally come together, and what do? They absolutely batter the Bar for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Last week, absolutely nobody predicted those NXT call-ups, and we got Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano beating the Bar. This week, the Hardy Boys return again, absolutely out of nowhere, and what do? They beat the Bar. The Bar only get beat to teams that they can't prepare for. It happens time and time again, and will continue to do so forever. That's my theory. Back to the show now, and Ricochet and Aleister Black actually watch TV like two normal human beings. Thank you. So here's another thing you can flash up on the screen somewhere for when they're watching TV. It happens that rarely, doesn't it? You think you make a song and dance about it. No, nothing. There's one for the future, Miller. A big "They watch TV correctly" banner. Thank me later. This segment was the absolute pits, wasn't it? I'm sorry, but like, it is peak banter, don't get me wrong, that Lana flits between two different accents and nobody seems to notice any of this, but they've somehow managed to make Aleister Black and Ricochet, two of the coolest men on the planet, look like absolute dorks. I appreciate that I look like... Yeah, I know. The best thing about people calling me ordinary is the look on their face when I prove them wrong. You fear the unknown, but it says here on my tattoo somewhere that Rusev's real name is Mr. Fart. They're both so good in the ring, man. Like, how can they not clap back somebody who's juggling two accents at the same time? Just let me believe that Ricochet goes around saving the world in his spare time and that Aleister Black sleeps upside down like a bat or something. Just maintain their aura. Don't expose them like this. Down. United States Open Challenge time now, and R-Truth is just the absolute best, isn't he? I can emphatically state that I would be happy for him to do this John Cena boyhood fan gimmick for, well, between now and the rest of recorded time. The match itself, which ended up being a triple threat after Rey Mysterio beat Andrade to the ring, please stop making Andrade look like a cock, WWE, was actually really good. I thought they let R-Truth win clean, which was a nice surprise, and they didn't bury anybody else in the process. That is how you write a match for television. Up. No, just one. Sorry, it's a bit carried away. Look, in case that's a bit confusing, I'll explain what I mean. They let Mysterio come this close to winning the match, but then he was the one who took the pinfall. Then they let Andrade, the heel, go after him once the bell had rung, but Mysterio was still the one that ended up standing tall at the end. So you've got the champion, who has retained, you've got the heel, who looks like a heel, and you've got the face, who looks like a face. I would quite happily let the three of these have another go at Fastlane as a result of this, so good. Here's Charlotte now in Charlotte, which is a bit confusing, that, isn't it? It's the whole reason I won't personally ever visit... Nope, actually I've got a joke for that. Thought I had a joke. Nowhere sounds like my name. Now, just want to remind you all that somewhere out there in the universe, there is a parallel universe, not unlike this one, where they are pitching Charlotte as the sympathetic babyface. Still, they ignored all the Becky momentum, and we are getting a WrestleMania main event, which is historic for no other reason than it's historic. Right now, in that universe, they are somehow building to Becky versus Charlotte at Fastlane, where they're both meant to be faces, but it's just there to keep the fans happy because they really want Becky to be at WrestleMania instead of Charlotte. And then they get like 20 minutes, it's all emotional, it's all heartfelt, and then Charlotte eventually wins, and Becky concedes that she is actually the better wrestler. She raises her arm, gets really tearful, walks up the ramp, does one little look back, and then that's it. The fans outright reject Charlotte, but we're getting her anyway. Basically, think of Reigns versus Bryan before WrestleMania the other year. Basically, the women's that. That's what they're getting. But in this universe, the one that somehow we are blessed enough to live in, we get unhinged, slightly crazy, company-chosen one, entitled Charlotte, dropping a promo this good. Up. We also get confirmation that Ronda Rousey has, in fact, relinquished the Raw Women's Championship. So immediately, I now want to watch that show to see what happens. That is good shared universe storytelling. Very impressed with all this. They're doing such a good job. Next up, we had the team of Ricochet and Aleister Black versus Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura, who, I'm having a mental blank here. Have they come up with a team name for them yet? Was it Nakarus, Rusa Nakamura? I've completely forgotten. Have they got one? I don't actually think they've got one. Rusev, hey, come on. Something like that. I don't know, in the comments. And shout out to that aforementioned promo we got backstage, which took what should have been a dream pairing, an absolutely exciting match, and then just killed my interest in it before it actually started. That's what bad backstage segments can do. Well done. Sorry, I should say, killed my interest in it until it started. I had not realised how much I desperately want to see an Aleister Black versus Shinsuke Nakamura actual long-term feud. They're like the best strikers in the company. They're absolutely vicious, but yet they're so cosmetically and philosophically opposite to each other. Their taunts are both brilliant. That little segment they did where he was giving it that, but then he was sitting down. That That was brilliant. I really want to see these two put together now for a big pay-per-view, so let's make that happen. Can we petition for that? Petition for that. Now, look, just gonna, right, real talk here. I know this is just how things are in America, but 4 minutes of this, like 3 times during the show. Adverts to take up 80% of the screen while the match just treads water. Like, why are you guys not rioting about this? Absolutely dreadful. I'd rather just an actual commercial break so I can go and use the toilet or make a cuppa or something. This is limbo. It's horrible. Kick off. Really enjoyed this match, though. I'm sorry, I'm absolutely boiling wearing this in the studio. Really enjoyed this match, though. It was a really good example of how you do these kind of call-up showcase things. Like, they got enough time that both individually and as a team, Ricochet and Black could show what they can do and look really good. But at the same time, Rusev and Nakamura looked like the more experienced hands. They did dominate for long parts of the matches, and so when they got beat in the end, it wasn't really a burial. It looked really good. Both teams came out of it quite strong. Like, compare this match to what the Revival got to do with the same opponents 24 hours ago on Raw. Like, the amount of time they got on the show to work the same opponents. It's so easy to book it well like this. Last night, that got a down. Today, this gets an up. Next up, we had AJ Styles backstage in a segment that was purely designed to A, remind us that he still exists, and B, how tall Randy Orton is. Didn't know that. Yeah, I wasn't really wild on this. It was quite an awkward interview. They had to repeat the question because it wasn't really clear enough. And then he just said, yeah, I got beat, but I'm still really good, and I'm going to face the next challenger after I dust myself off and sort whatever's going on with my hair out and shave my cheeks into a weird chin strap thing. And then Randy Orton just appeared out of nowhere and was like, what did you say? The house that who built? Or the house that AJ Styles did what in? It's just he took issue with the catchphrase and then just walked off nonchalantly. Not really excited about that happening now, so down. I mean, much like the one we got earlier in the show, it was just a promo that was there for the sake of being there, and that's a waste of airtime. Speaking of a waste of airtime, here's Lacey Evans. She's gone again. Finally arrive at tonight's main event, and a whopping 3 entrances take place during the final commercial break. Is this just a thing they do all the time now? Have I just missed this? I love entrances. They're part of my favourite bit of the show. Just take the time off Tom Phillips or something. But yes, the team of Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan taking on the returning Kevin Owens and Kofi Kingston in the midst of what must have been the most disappointing night of his professional life. I was fully intrigued by this. Alright, so what do we actually get in this match? Well, we got Kevin Owens playing to the crowd as a consistent face. That's good. We've got Eric Rowan looking like a big physical threat for the first time since his return. That is also good. We've got Kofi versus Bryan, another great few minutes of those two, but we were made to wait to get it. That is good. We got Owens getting the hot tag. That is good. We got a frantic finish. It swung both ways. That was good as well. We got Kevin Owens stealing my finisher, which it is. And then winning the match as well on his return, which is good. That is a resounding up. And that was it. No screwy finish, no daft shenanigans, no illogical booking that made the opening segment a complete waste of everybody's time. You got Owens returning as a face, playing a face in the match, and looking really strong going into his title match at Fastlane now. That's great. That's just really simple wrestling writing. I really liked it. And I'm not saying he won't turn later on or this won't all be a big ruse somewhere down the line, but crucially, I am now invested in that happening. It will come as a surprise to me, like it's meant to. As a result of the writing on this show, I have bought in to the idea of good guy Owens, and if it turns out down the line he isn't a good guy, then I will be shocked. That is what you want to do with your audience. Plus, they've done all this without making me stop care about Kofi's title push. I still really want to see him get that. I'm invested in him as a character as well. This is just, it's so simple and so good. Give audiences a nice self-contained episode of television which leaves enough narrative threads still hanging that they're going to want to tune in next week. Don't just chop and change everything, get all your shocks, cram them into one episode. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it like this, like you've just done it the last 2 nights of television. It's just, if you keep this up, ratings will improve. It's that easy. It's not about stars or anything like that. Just use what you've got and use it well. Just feels weird that I want to really applaud WWE for 2 consistent shows of writing, and that it happens to have coincided with me doing ups and downs, but I do really enjoyed those last 2 shows. And yes, that was the end of this week's SmackDown, but we did promise you a huge ending to this episode of Ups and Downs. I got the chance, very luckily, to sit down with none other than the returning Dave Bautista to ask him what the hell was going on with that attack on Ric Flair last night on Raw. I think you're going to find the answers disturbing. So, Dave, first of all, I just want to thank you for speaking exclusively to WhatCulture Wrestling following your dramatic return on Monday Night Raw this week. How are you?
I've had a few Guinness that I've enjoyed, but...
Sure, okay, me too. I just want to ask what it was like to commit such a heinous action against your friend and mentor, Ric Flair, on Monday. It must have been emotionally grueling to commit such an act.
No, it wasn't grueling at all. It was actually a lot of fun. I mean, we were...
Sorry, fun. Dave, can I just stop you there? The man is in his 70s. Would it not have been terrible if the man had been seriously injured?
No, it would have been great.
I've got to say, I'm quite surprised at all this, Dave. The man, brought you into WWE. You fought side by side for him for many, many years. Surely you should be interested in his well-being.
But I don't. I have zero interest in it.
I mean, all right, fair enough. Well, thank you for your time, Dave. That's all the questions I've got. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure. Yeah, great.
Anyway, yes, that's me done with ups and downs for the time being, but a genuine pleasure, I have to say, to step into the very tall, very bald, very charismatic, very muscly shoes of Simon Miller. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. Let us know in the comments below, and of course don't forget to like, share and subscribe. In the meantime though, thank you very much for watching. Been Adam Cleary, still am. Bye.